Underword. Farewell, happy fields, where joy forever dwells. Hail horrors, hail infernal world, and thou profoundest hell, receive thy new possessor, one who brings a mind not to be changed by place or time. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. You're listening to CICK 93.9 Smithers Community Radio, broadcasting from the unceded Gittenden Clan Territory, Cassia House, home of the Wet'suwet'en Nation. My name's Gavin Smith, and you're listening to The Underword, a show that explores where the old poets turn up in new music. And we're going to do a quick thanks to our sponsor, Community Radio Fund. Thanks for keeping us afloat. And today we are covering John Milton. You were just listening to an excerpt from Paradise Lost, which we'll be hearing a fair bit about today. And that was spoken from the perspective of Satan, in case you were wondering. And we'll be talking a little bit more about Satan today as well. Today I'm reading from the works of John Milton from the Smithers Public Library. Shout out to them. A little bit about John Milton. Before we get started, he was an English poet. He was born in 1608, died in 1674. He was a contemporary of William Shakespeare. In fact, he even wrote a poem about him. Very sweet. He was also an ardent supporter of the parliamentarians, i.e. the anti-monarchists, during the English Civil War. And after the execution of King Charles I and the establishment of Oliver Cromwell's Commonwealth government, Milton was appointed as Secretary for Foreign Tongues, which sounds saucy. After the restoration of the monarchy in 1660, Milton went into hiding. People who had been in that government were not well loved when the crown came back into power, and he was later arrested and briefly imprisoned until his influential friend stepped in and he was released. He went totally blind by his mid-40s, and so his later works were dictated to others who wrote for him, including his magnum opus, the epic poem Paradise Lost, which is what we're focusing on today. You may have heard about it or remember it from high school. The poem is more than 200 pages, so we're not going to cover it all here. But here's the basic plot of Paradise Lost, recounted in the style of like a complicated fantasy movie recap in 60 seconds, performed as respectfully as possible by me, an atheist. So Paradise Lost addresses a civil war in heaven started by the forces of an angel rebellion captained by Satan. The rebellion is eventually defeated by the figure of God, who purges the fallen angels to hell and subsequently creates the world as a paradise helmed by Adam and Eve, who seem to have a pretty sweet thing going on, until Satan appears as a snake and convinces them to eat the forbidden fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which God definitely said don't do that. And so as Adam and Eve begin to experience guilt and shame for the first time, Satan returns to hell, and he's pretty stoked because humankind has fallen. So now his gang of sketchy angels can gain dominion over paradise. That is until God turns them all into snakes. Adam and Eve are cast out of paradise, but they are told that they have the opportunity to redeem themselves from their original sin. And if that sounds to you like a cliffhanger for a sequel, you are not wrong. In fact, John Milton even wrote a lesser-known sequel called Paradise Regained, which I'm not going to recap because we don't have time, and also I don't want to. And also, you can probably guess a thing or two about its main character. Because of the religious themes and often pretty dark imagery around Satan, I would be remiss if I did not mention that Paradise Lost has been an absolute treasure trove for metal bands. Even a cursory search will turn up over a dozen metal or metal-adjacent artists drawing from Paradise Lost, including the likes of Cradle of Filth, Symphony X, Carnal Agony, Ghost, Marilyn Manson, who's not really a metal band, but still, it's neat. We're not going to do any of those. We are going to start with Grant Hart and his album The Argument. Now, Grant Hart was a founding member of the band Husker Du, which was one of the defining punk bands of the 1980s that also helped to shape the generation of musicians that followed, with bands like Nirvana, the Pixies, Green Day, all citing Husker Du as an influence. While Husker Du kind of imploded before the arrival of the 90s, Grant Hart continued to release albums sporadically. And in 2013, he released The Argument, which is a concept album based entirely on Milton's Paradise Lost. It was, unfortunately, his last album as he passed away from cancer in 2017. And the track that we're going to play, which was a standout for me, is called Morning Star. And it refers to Lucifer in Paradise Lost. And Lucifer in classical mythology is the morning star, or the planet Venus at dawn. And he's personified as a male figure bearing a torch. And this was sort of brought to prominence by John Milton in Paradise Lost. So I'm going to read, before we get to the song, I'm going to read to you the passage from Paradise Lost that talks about Satan, or Lucifer, and the morning star before we get into the song. So spake the false archangel and infused bad influences into the unwary breast of his associate. He together calls, or several one by one, the regent powers. Under him regent tells, as he was taught, that the Most High commanding, now ere night, now ere dim night, had disencumbered heaven. The great hierarchical standard was to move, tells the suggested cause, and casts between ambiguous words and jealousies to sound or taint integrity. But all obeyed the wanted signal and superior voice of their great potentate. For great indeed his name, and high was his degree in heaven. His countenance as the morning star that guides the starry flock allured them, and with lies drew after him the third part of heaven's host. And I guess I probably could have given you the context there. That is when Satan is convincing the angels to rebel. Lucifer, the morning star. This is Grant Hart with Morning Star. Here we go. That wasn't it. This is it.
Highest in orders bright, joy flows from you.
And there you have it. That was Grant Hart with Morning Star from his album The Argument, released in 2013. We're going to turn now to a band you very likely have heard of, Mumford & Sons, and their song Darkness Visible from the album Delta, released in 2018. If you are not a fan of stomp clap music, as they call it, give this one a chance. It is actually quite a departure from the standard Mumford & Sons. It begins actually as a spoken word, and it's read by Gil Landry, who, for those who don't know, is, I think, still maybe, a member of the Nashville folk group Old Crow Medicine Show. The song sort of begins with that spoken word, but then builds into a pretty driving instrumental crescendo. And the entire lyrics for the song are an early passage from Paradise Lost about Satan's banishment to hell after his failed attempt to conquer heaven. You can't hear all of the reading, so I'll give it to you first, and then you can listen to the version of it that appears in the song. There to dwell in adamantine chains and penal fire, who durst defy the omnipotent to arms, 9 times the space that measures day and night, rolling in the fiery gulf, confounded though immortal, but his doom reserved him to more wrath. For now the thought both of lost happiness and lasting pain torments him. Round he throws his baleful eyes, that witnessed huge affliction and dismay, mixed with obdurate pride and steadfast hate. At once as far as angels ken he views the dismal situation waste and wild, a dungeon horrible, on all sides round regions of sorrow, doleful shades where peace and rest can never dwell. Hope never comes that comes to all, but torture without end still urges, as one great furnace flamed, yet from those flames no light, but rather darkness visible. Here you go. This is Mumford & Sons, recited by Gil Landry with Darkness Visible.
Situation, waste and wild, a dungeon horrible, on all sides round, regions of sorrow, doleful shades where peace and rest can never dwell. Hope never comes that comes to all, torture without end still urges. There's one great furnace flame, yet from those flames no light. Rather, darkness visible.
There you have it. That was the abruptly ending Darkness Visible by Mumford & Sons. We're going to turn now to a repeat offender, for, if you can call it that, for the Underword, which is Nick Cave and his song Red Right Hand. The first time that Nick Cave appeared on this show was when he was featured in an episode on Dylan Thomas for his song There She Goes, My Beautiful World, which is an awesome song. Red Right Hand is one of Cave's defining songs. He's actually said the song, quote, followed him around like a junkyard dog. And it's been covered by the likes of Arctic Monkeys, PJ Harvey, Iggy Pop, Jarvis Cocker, Laura Marling, Nell Smith, Flaming Lips, and Snoop Dogg, of all people. And it's also been featured in films and shows including The X-Files, Scream, remember that, and the show Peaky Blinders, which I keep meaning to watch, but I haven't watched. Red Right Hand is a phrase spoken in Paradise Lost by the fallen angel Belial to refer to the vengeful hand of God during a scene in which those in hell debate after their banishment whether and how they should strike back at heaven. Belial's advice, I don't know if I'm saying Belial, not really sure. It doesn't come with a pronunciation guide. Anyways, Belial's advice is to avoid any further war against heaven because they're unlikely to win, and they may end up in a worse situation than they already are in hell. And this is what Belial has to say. First, what revenge! The towers of heaven are filled with armed watch that render all access impregnable. Oft on the bordening deep encamp their legions, or with obscure wings scout far and wide into the realm of night, scorning surprise. Or could we break our way by force, and at our heels all hell should rise with blackest insurrection to confound heaven's purest light. Yet our great enemy, all incorruptible, would be on his throne, sit unpolluted, and the ethereal mold incapable of stain would soon expel her mischief and purge off the baser fire, victorious. Then Belial later goes on to say they who counsel war, we are decreed, reserved, and destined to eternal woe. Whatever doing, what can we suffer more? What can we suffer worse? Is this, then, worst? This sitting, thus consulting, thus in arms? What when we fled amain, pursued and struck with heaven's afflicting thunder, and besought the deep to shelter us? This hell then seemed a refuge from those wounds. Or when we lay chained on the burning lake, that sure was worse. What if the breath that kindled those grim fires awaked should blow them into sevenfold rage and plunge us in the flames, or from above should intermitted vengeance arm again his red right hand to plague us? What if all her stores were opened, and this firmament of hell should spout her cataracts of fire, impendent horrors, threatening hideous fall one day upon our heads, while we perhaps, designing or exhorting glorious war, caught in a fiery tempest shall be hurled, each on his rock transfixed, the sport and prey of racking whirlwinds, or forever sunk under yon boiling ocean, wrapped in chains, there to converse with everlasting groans, unrespited, unpitied, unreprieved. Ages of hopeless end? This would be worse. War, therefore, open or concealed alike, my voice dissuades. There you go. That was the sage counsel of the angel Belial, referring to the red right hand of God. And this is Nick Cave from his album Let Love In, released in 1994, with the song Red Right Hand.
Take a little walk to the edge of town and go across the track where the viaduct looms like a bird of doom as it ships and cracks, where secrets lie in the border fires and the humming wires. Yeah, man, you know you're never coming back. Past the square, past the bridge, past the mills, past the stacks. On a gathering storm comes a tall, handsome man in a dusty black coat with a red right hand. He'll wrap you in his arms, tell you that you've been a good boy. He'll rekindle all the dreams that took you a lifetime to destroy. He'll reach deep into the hole, heal your shrinking soul, but there won't be a single thing that you can do. He's a god, he's a man, he's a ghost, he's a guru. They're whispering his name through this disappearing land, but hidden in his coat is a red right hand. You don't owe no money, get you some. You don't have no car, get you one. You don't have no self-respect, you feel like an insect. Well, don't you worry, buddy, cause here he comes through the ghettos and the barrio and the barry and the slum. His shadow is cast wherever he stands, stacks of green paper in his red right hand. You'll see him in your nightmares, you'll see him in your dreams. He'll appear out of nowhere, but he ain't what he seems. You'll see him in your head on the TV screen. Hey buddy, I'm warning you to turn it off. He's a ghost, he's a god, he's a man, he's a guru. You're one microscopic cog in his catastrophic plan, designed and directed by his red right hand.
You've been listening to Red Right Hand by Nick Cave. Such a good song. I love that bell. It's perfect. We're going to close off with a kind of a weird, dark improvisational release from an album called Four Infernal Rivers by Tom Carter and Pat Morano. And that release, Four Infernal Rivers, consists of 4 tracks which are each named after one of the 4 rivers of hell, as described in this passage for Paradise Lost. And I'm going to try, let's see if this works. I'm going to see if I can do this. I'll play a little bit in the background, the weird improvisational stuff while I'm going here. See if it gets too distracting. I don't know. But yeah, so this is from the passage that it is drawing from. Along the banks of 4 infernal rivers that disgorge into the burning lake their baleful streams, abhorred Styx, the flood of deadly hate, sad Acheron of sorrow black and deep, Cocytus, named of lamentation loud, heard on the rueful stream, fierce Phlegethon, whose waves of torrent fire inflame with rage, far off from these a slow and silent stream, Lethe, the river of oblivion, rolls her watery labyrinth, whereof who drinks forthwith his former state and being forgets both joy and grief, pleasure and pain. Beyond this flood a frozen continent lies dark and wild, beat with perpetual storms of whirlwind and dire hail, which on firm land thaws not, but gathers heap, and ruin seems of ancient pile. All else deep snow and ice, a gulf profound as that Serbonian bog betwixt Dalmatia and Mount Cassius old, where armies whole have sunk, the parching air burns for, and cold performs the effect of fire. You're listening to Styx by Tom Carter and Pat Morano, one of the rivers in hell, and one of the 4 songs on their release, Four Infernal Rivers. It's been a real pleasure spending some time with you. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. You've been listening to The Underword with me, Gavin Smith, on CICK 93.9 Smithers Community Radio. Hope you have yourselves a good night, and we'll see you next time.